Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you another vlog. When I tell you that when I recorded this vlog, I woke up I think at 3 a.m. and on that day, well, I started doing some housework at 3 a.m. but the truth is I had been awake since 12 midnight. So let's get into this vlog. It is 10 minutes past 3. I've been awake since I think the past hour and a half. I've been busy doing some ironing. I plan to do this like early in the morning, but we went out yesterday, so after I came back we just went straight to bed. But now I think I've been awake since 12 midnight and I just couldn't go back to sleep, so I just decided, let me just get on with the ironing since I was planning to do it anyway. But yeah, I'll be sharing homemaking diaries, just a few days in my life. And the one thing that I'm also going to share is, following my video on saving money on groceries, I've implemented a few things that have so far helped me to save money on my grocery bill, and it has been quite easy and doable, and I'm going to share a few of those things later on in the video, and I hope you sit back and enjoy it. And if this is your type of content, please remember to like, share and subscribe. We are making our way to 28,000 subscribers and we are heading into our first year anniversary of this channel, so I hope you enjoy the video and you stick around. It has been a while since I have woken up this early in the morning. Lately, I've been sleeping quite well where I wake up when it's time for me to wake up. But I think there's a lot of excitement and things happening in my life that, you know, sometimes you just get caught up in your thoughts and you just cannot sleep. So I went back to bed actually after doing the ironing, and I woke up later on, I think around 6, 7, and I just went outside to enjoy the sunlight and just a bit of the fresh air, which was shortly disturbed by me noticing that my roof actually is broken, so we might need to do some repairs out there. So life never happens as you plan it, but we'll get that sorted. That's the pleasures of owning a home. It never ends. You keep on repairing. Today for breakfast, I am making a frittata, which is inspired by Meghan Markle's new show on Netflix, which is With Love Meghan, which has been a hot topic lately. But yeah, it's been hard for her with all the negative comments that she's been getting regarding this new series. I just wanted to do this frittata just as an homage to all the people that, you know, are trying to make a comeback in their life. Sometimes you go through hardships and you just want to resurrect yourself and get onto a path of living fresh and, you know, making new choices and moving on with your life. And sometimes people just don't give you a break. So in as much as I also find that the program is kind of hard for me to watch because I cannot relate to some of the stuff that she talks about, but not necessarily because I hate Meghan Markle. I just wanted to make this frittata and just enjoy it. And if you are like her, feeling like no one is on your side, just know that sometimes you just have to soldier on, even when no one is supporting you. You just have to focus on the path that you're on, and people will always be negative, but you cannot waste your energy on them. Just focus on you and life will always work out eventually. You will find your own direction and follow that. So once the egg has sort of solidified a little bit on the side and is starting to form a crust and lifting away from the pan, then I put it in the oven and baked it for about 5 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. But I almost bent it because I got caught away with washing the dishes. So just be careful to keep an eye on your frittata when you're putting it in the oven. So it came out quite nice. Almost bent, but it was okay. The nice thing about a frittata is you can have it either as a breakfast or as a lunch. And today for breakfast, we had that with a little bit of arugula and some tomato, just to make it like a little bit of a light salad on the side. So I went to Pep Store to go and drop off some orders. And while I was there, I picked up a few things on my way from, like at the mall. I went to Northgate shopping center. So while I was there, I went into a very mark and I picked up this. This is a hose for my vacuum cleaner. I want to show you guys what I've been working with. So my hose for the vacuum cleaner broke here. And for the past few weeks, I just put tape around it and I tried to work with it, but every time I push it around, it kind of like breaks. So I needed to get a replacement and I got this. I think this was like 70 rand. And I also got a filter for the vacuum cleaner. I use the Hydrovac vacuum cleaner. So I just got a filter that I'm going to need for the floors, because if you don't clean the filter in your vacuum cleaner kind of loses the suction power. Please don't judge me. My filter has been due for a replacement for a while. I do wash this from time to time, and yeah, but no, I think it's been a while since I've replaced it, so I just decided that it's time to let this one go. And while I was there, I picked up another vacuum cleaner. So now I have 3 vacuum cleaners. The clips, because the annoying thing again with this vacuum cleaner, they made plastic clips and the other ones broke here. So if you look on the side, you can see it's got hooks here. So these things break, and once it breaks, you struggle. Sometimes when you pick up the vacuum cleaner, you've got water everywhere. The clips are actually quite easy to install. You just hook it on one side and slip it in place on the other side, and this way it's done. And right now I'm not sure if I should take this one to my village home or I should take the Hydrovac. The main reason why I got this vacuum cleaner also is to help me when I go upstairs to clean, that I don't have to worry about always trying to find somewhere to plug the vacuum cleaner. Something that we struggle with in the house is not having enough power outlets, and I always have to run an extension either from my bedroom to clean up all the other rooms, or I have to run an extension from down here. So you can understand the frustration that I have every time I have to clean. So this was definitely a need and not just something that I wanted to have. After having this vacuum cleaner now for about 3 days, I am not sure whether to keep it or not. Here's my issue with this vacuum cleaner. It takes about 4 to 5 hours to charge up, and it's got 3 different setting level. So you've got like a low power, a medium power, and a high power. On maximum power, the vacuum cleaner is quite powerful and it does a good job. My only issue is with my rug that I have now in my living room. For me to be happy with the suction power, I have to put it on maximum, and when I have it on maximum, the vacuum cleaner only lasts for 10 minutes, which I don't think is enough. Well, after that video on saving money on groceries, I wanted to try out a few of the tips that you guys shared and some of the things that I had done previously when I wasn't spending a lot on my groceries to help me save money, basically on an immediate basis, not thinking long term, like things like planting vegetables, because those are things that you can do in the long run, but there are definitely things that you can do immediately that can help you save money on groceries. So let's get into what I did that helped me save quite a few thousand rands on my groceries. Normally at the beginning of the month, I would go and do a big shopping where I would buy all the meat that I need and basically all the spices and veggies that I think I need. But what I did this month was I only bought the chicken and maybe one pack of lamb, because when I got there, I realized that the price of the beef was expensive. So I did go to Food Lovers and Checkers and also Spar. So none of these stores had beef on special. So this is why I opted to buy only chicken and just eggs and a couple of fruits that I had. So the first thing that I wanted to focus on when it comes to saving on groceries was buying what was on special and what I needed. So it wasn't just because the product is on special, but it was at the right price and it was exactly what I needed. I also focused on buying enough to last me for at least 2 weeks. So the second tip that I focused on was going to the grocery store less. So after the 2 trips that I did on that one day to the 2 stores, I didn't do any shopping for the entire week except for the fruits that I need on a weekly basis, and my budget for fruits and snacks for the week was 350 to 400, and I managed to keep that within budget for the whole entire month actually of March. So the first week of the month, I ended up spending about 2,500, unlike the usual spend of about 3,000 to 3,500 just on food alone. And that is why I'm saying we're already a month into this trial, which is from the 25th of Feb into the 25th of March. So the 3,000 also includes a few household items like refuse bags, toilet papers, and dishwashing soap that I needed. And I don't really count toiletries because toiletries, I buy them separately at Discam. So because the roll-on was on special at Checkers, so that's why I decided to just add them onto the list. But they are included in the 3,000, which is normally not what I do when I buy groceries. My third strategy was to eliminate convenience. With a lot of the veggies that I buy from Woolies and also the canned vegetables is mostly convenient stuff where you have vegetables that is already pre-packed in either bags or in cans. So one thing that I use a lot in my house is canned tomatoes, and if you look at the price of canned tomatoes, they run for about 22 to up to 28 rand per can, depending on the type of tomato that you buy. If you go for the Romas and those type, then you're looking at a higher price for canned tomatoes. And one thing that I used to do back in the day, something that I learned from my grandmother actually used to sell food at schools, so she would buy tomatoes in a big bunch, and what she would do is she would prepare them just as I'm doing now and freeze them in the freezer, which is something that I used to do previously, but for some reason I just stopped doing it, also because I didn't have the time to do it when I was working. But if you can eliminate convenience in some of the things that you buy and prepare them from scratch in your own home, you actually save a lot of money. The 2 bags that I have here cost me about 27 rand a bag. Checkers had a special for them, so I used 1 bag and the other half I saved for the fresh tomatoes, and the others I prepared them and saved them in my freezer. So I ended up with about 6 cans of tomatoes for the price that I would have paid for 2. So it takes a little bit of time to prepare, but if you can eliminate convenience by buying maybe a full pumpkin or something like that and chopping it up into smaller pieces and saving it in bags in your freezer, that way you don't pay for the price of the packaging and processing of your vegetables, and it saves you quite a bit. The fourth thing that I did was learn to work with what I have. Normally when I go through my days and I'm trying to cook and I don't find things in my house, I would run quickly to the store and make sure that I get whatever ingredient that I have. If I don't have cream, I would go to the store and buy cream, but now I don't do that anymore. If the cream is not there, I find a way to work without the cream, either using milk and thickening it up with some flour or adding butter and those type of things. So find a way to make your recipes flexible without running to the shop every time you feel like you need something, which adds on to the first point of avoiding going to the shops as often as you want to. I ended up buying some red meat on the third week of my cycle, and it was on special at Spar, so I managed to get enough for this month and also for the following month. So which means that next month I do not have to worry about spending any money on red meat, and that I ended up spending about 1,200 on all the red meat that I needed. So my total for the month so far has been 4,600, and that includes my weekly fruit top up. Another tip that I employed was learning to stretch my meat. With the price of red meat being so expensive, one other thing that I did was when I was cooking beef, for example, the one day I cooked beef, and instead of just making it the way that I normally do, I decided to bulk it up with other protein sources like beans. So I added beans to my beef, and that way I got more out of a packet that we would normally eat like one day and then have maybe a little bit of a leftover. I decided to split that into 2 servings where I got the meat for the one day and then also saved the other half for the freezer. Then I could also have it as a meal for another day. Now, one of the tips that I got from my previous video was that I should stop buying from Woolies and buy from stores like Checkers, Spar, and I tried to do that. If you notice, I haven't said anything about buying from Woolies yet. So I have not bought from Woolies as much this month. I think it was the one weekend where I went and bought fruits for and vegetables from Woolies, but I didn't buy from Woolies, and what I experienced is the vegetables that I got from Checkers, I had to use them quickly, which left me a little bit stressed out, because when I buy vegetables, I don't want to stress about them going off as quickly as they do. The mushrooms that you saw me using earlier on in the frittata were some of the mushrooms that I bought about 4 or 5 days earlier, and I never got to use them in the recipe that I had planned for earlier in that week. So by the end of the week, they had actually started going off, which is not something that I experience normally with vegetables that I buy from Woolworths. So I think sometimes we villainize some stores because of price, but we need to compare what we get from the stores in terms of quality and how long it will also last. So it's not just about the price, because if I'm going to be paying the little amount that I pay for mushrooms, which is basically a difference of about 4 or 5 rands between Woolies and Checkers, but end up throwing the vegetables in the bin because they go off so quick. So the price difference really doesn't matter that much. But then again, it also presented an opportunity for me to be able to focus on what I have in the fridge and keep checking it regularly to make sure that stuff doesn't go off. And also, because I'm not buying a lot anymore, then I'm able to incorporate the veggies that I bought on that particular week into the recipes without leaving stuff to go off, because I have a lot in my fridge. So there is a balance there that needs to be maintained. If I am buying stuff for cheap and I'm buying less, it does work out a little bit, because then I manage to use up the vegetables as quickly as I can. Yes, there is an option to freeze some of the vegetables before they go off, but stuff like mushrooms, I've never been one to freeze mushrooms, so I don't know how they will work once they are frozen, and I would prefer to use them fresh, because normally I put them in omelets and in sauces. So if they were to freeze, I'm worried about them releasing a lot of water into the food that I use them for. So it's about maintaining balance. So I will continue to add a little bit of Woolies here and there in terms of some of the fruits and veggies, but I will not be doing a lot of convenience fruit, a lot of convenience vegetables where you have like your chopped broccoli and cauliflower, your chopped pumpkin, unless I have a need at that time to buy that. But other than that, I will not be buying that from Woolies. So I will still be buying the bulk stuff that they sell at Woolies in order for me to save and also to have my vegetables being fresher for longer. Another big important factor is location. Where you reside also determines the price and where you can buy your vegetables. For some of us, stores like Boxers and ShopRite, we do not have those type of stores nearby. So for me to go to a ShopRite, I would need to travel further away from where I stay, and then I end up spending more on petrol just to go and save on food, which basically doesn't make sense. So I've noticed that when we are in Polokwane, we can basically buy grocery for the whole house for about 3,500, and that will last us a long time. Some of the groceries that we bought in December, we still have at home, and it's because of the price of where you live. In areas where we stay, the price is just ridiculous for some of the things that we buy, and we cannot do anything about that. In as much as I would love to be that one person in the comment that says they spent 2,500 on groceries, I know it's very impractical and it's impossible for me to be able to do so. But for now, I just wanted to focus on the steps that I can take immediately in order to make a difference in what I spend on my groceries. There are other things like planting your own vegetables, but when you live in Joburg, space is limited. The only space that I have in my yard does not get any sunlight. So I have tried previously to grow vegetables in my home, but that didn't work out because of the vegetables not getting enough sunlight. So they don't grow, they don't thrive in my yard. The only space that gets sunlight is actually a balcony that is in my bedroom. So there are small ways that you can grow vegetables in small planters. Like if I wanted to do a vegetable garden on my balcony, I could actually do that, but it's a lot of work coming upstairs to come and water the vegetables on my balcony. But I might consider growing herbs on those type of things that I can grow in a smaller scales, like your lettuce, small tomatoes that don't actually require a lot of space and a lot of maintenance. So there are little things that you can do to save on groceries, but for now all I wanted to do was to focus on the little things that I can do immediately that will make quite a bit of a difference. So having saved about 3,000 was quite something. This is all a learning curve for each and every one of us. Some have gotten it down to a science to how they know they can spend so little on groceries, but we all come from different families, and the most important thing is not to judge each other. All our circumstances are different, and we can all afford to spend or save differently when it comes to our households. Just do what works for you. I am Mabatumam Haudipela, and if you have not seen my previous video on my issues with spending more on grocery, I will link that video up and be sure to check it out. See you in the next video. Bye bye.